Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Dark Days. Oh, wait, no. Tennis Manager 23. It's episode 34. Dark Days because, well, it's been a rough, almost couple years now in this playthrough. But it's not all dark days. There has been a bright spot. There has been light shone upon the world. It's from Wrecker Kova, who is now 103rd in the rankings, continually climbing 20 for 20 over the last period, winning every single tournament that she entered, making a heck of a run, earning some really quality points while she was at it, because she's the only one who is in form. Everybody else is absolutely just smashing it in the opposite way. So here's the plan. You might have heard it last episode, but had you skipped beyond that point, you might not have seen it. The plan is 3 weeks. 3 weeks in a row with a WTA 60/80 level tournament. Low level stuff that we are easily the number one seed for. We have dropped all the way to 65th in the rankings. This is a great opportunity to earn some points, move back up just a little bit, but most importantly of all, 3 straight low level tournaments means we must find form by the end of these 3 weeks. Now, week number 1, my expectations are low-ish. I don't expect us to win this one. I really don't. But I certainly expect us to get through that round, and hopefully this round before we meet our demise, maybe in the later rounds. Here's to hoping that we can come right out of the box with a win. Oh my goodness, that would be a big uptick to the form to carry over into the next tournament where we should be facing the same level of opposition for the most part. And if, we got to get the ball rolling. And that's been what has been so difficult for us of late. 6-1, 6-1 in the first round. But that was going to be the easy one. Now it's going to get a little bit tougher from here. Round 2 is just about the toughest opponent we could be facing anywhere from now till the semifinal. If we can get past this one, I like our chances of making a deep run. But without form, you can literally lose to anyone, no matter how big the gap is between you. 6-4, 6-2. Fingers crossed, this is our pathway forward, though, like I said, anyone. I mean, we're only +3 on winners here. Third round was the easiest matchup we had yet, and here we are, squeaking out the victory. Somebody ranked hundreds of spots below us. Hundreds. Plural. 4 something in the rankings, like 460 something. 6-2-2-6. And then 7-6. Barely winning the tiebreaker at that. Only taking 49% of the points over the entirety of the match. -6 on winners. I mean, this is my nightmare. This is my literal nightmare. Speaking of literal nightmares, I have the daycare, so and it's in-home, having it close to the major highway network around is important. So I am one empty lot above a highway, looking down on it. I do get that highway noise a bit. It's not severe, but occasionally it is. Late Saturday night, someone passed away while slamming into the streetlight along the side of the highway, and that was an intense noise. That was like waking up from a nightmare. My wife and I both were literally on our feet before the noise stopped. Boom! Springing out of bed. Feel bad for the person who passed away in the incident, but that happened like right outside our house. So, living literal nightmares. Far worse for them as they ceased to exist on the planet. For me, it was just a disturbed night's sleep. And spending the next hour, because it happened on the opposite side of the house, kind of catty corner, not in front of the empty lot itself. So, not at first identifying where or what it was and running through house looking for if something has been smashed in the house, car outside, whatever, trying to find that before then traffic starts to back up on the highway and you're like, okay, it is what we thought it was in the first place, just couldn't see it. Last time we invested a lot of money into numerous upgrades for our medical center, with the aim of trying to decrease the injuries and or the duration of the injuries that our athletes are incurring on a way too regular rate. First of those upgrades is now complete. Well, technically the second. That the first of those was done the same day that we spent all the money. Now the first of the ones that we spent the money on to initiate is complete. Muscle care room. As for our 3 athletes and what the collective group is up to right now, you can see that Rekharkova and Urhobo are pretty okay on their satisfaction. Thurman is not currently, so we are facing additional challenges here. We really are. But anyway, what the 3 are up to. Urhobo lost early in another tournament. Just cannot buy a win. I am doing the same thing with her that I'm doing with Thurman, but I'm trying really hard to not put them in the exact same tournament so that each of them does have a viable path to get through the tournament and don't end up having to play against one another. In the case of Urhobo, she was 1 level higher, got knocked out right away. So next week, she'll be, I think, 1 level lower, so hopefully that'll give her a chance to get a run started. Thurman, obviously still in the tournament for the time being, but struggling. really struggling. We did squeak that last one out, right? We didn't lose that. Well, it still says we have a match to play. It was just appalling to see how poor we were. That's right, we won despite 49%. Yes. Well, Rekharkova, the one who is in form, who is just smashing her way through her goals. When I went at her goals, saw her goals, it was like, what the mother effing, blah, blah, blah. I thought they were absurd, but she has been on an absolute tear. Now, if she hadn't been on that tear, who knows how bad, how ugly this season would have been across the board. But one player in form currently at Wimbledon Junior, and getting pretty deep in that one. Here's to hoping that we can intervene for once, see a tournament played out live with Rekharkova claiming a junior slam. She has won one previously, but it was before she signed with us. So this would be our first anything large-ish of a tournament ever, because we never won a junior with Thurman, or Hobo went straight into the seniors. Rekharkova's gone straight into the seniors, but is still getting those slams at least. And we've never won a major senior tournament. We've just won a number of minor ones. Meanwhile, the semifinal, 487 qualifier. Opponent should be an easy one. That last one was 473. Was not easy. Our form is not there yet. We have already gone through 2 rounds. It will help our form. Will help. It was already calculated for this week. We still have that weak form. At the bottom end of the bracket, can't see it behind me, but it's 300 and 648 for the 2 Americans. Every opportunity to come away a victor, which is why we intentionally did this. I just had my doubts on whether we could actually do this because, well, you've seen the form. 473 nearly kicked our butts. 6-3, 6-2. We will appear in the final. We are going to see a boost to the form. It's not going to fix it, but it will be a boost. 2 more weeks of it. I think we're going to be just fine. Rekharkova into the final. So, 3 low-level tournaments like this really shouldn't be noteworthy. I will not be playing the other 2 in any formidable way. They're not going to get played out live if we see those finals. But this is the one where we still do not have anything going for us and could struggle. So this could be a close match. So we'll see this one. Can we make a bigger increase in form early? This is that big test that'll set us up for it. Meanwhile, we're headed for a final for Rekharkova too. That's going to be the more interesting one that we will go ahead and jump in and intervene for that Wimbledon Junior final. But here, you can see just how poor the movement is for Thurman right now. Ooh, just double faulting there. That ball, that was really close to the edge. I think that call on whether that would have touched the line or been just beyond really had to have been about 50-50. And yet, here we are. It's a chance to break, okay? It's not like we automatically should be winning this particular game. But look how poor Thurman's movement is. The serve did not drag us that far left. It did pull us left a bit, yes. So a recovery back to the right is not a given. But we're not dealing with a power player opponent here in Bellis. And yet, a ball that was only about 3/4 of the way across, we couldn't reach. 30 love, though, with serve, looking pretty strong there. I don't know how often we'll break her. There's no way that this is going to be one of those, like, 6-1, 6-1 type matches. We're facing a challenge, and yet the challenge is not, like, good. We're just not reaching balls. Our physicals are taking the hit. As we do get that game, it's 1-all. Our physicals take a hit in the lack of form, and it's our physicals that really drive our tactics. So this lack of form, it couldn't be more obvious by this point, a year and a half later, with only a single tournament victory over that stretch. The lack of form that has plagued us since we started getting forced into those 900 and 1,000 level tournaments has had such devastating effect. And it's because we have gone from plus 1s and 2s in all the physicals to minus 1s continually. That drop, that 3-point swing, that 2-point swing across the board in the physicals has turned us into a quite mediocre player for a long time here. We are serving right now. It's still only 2 games all, and we're not putting her away. There is absolutely nothing comfortable about this. But we lead 3-2. No, that was Bellis who just took that one. Okay. Ouch on that. I misread. I misread that, but here we are about to get broke. And to drop 2-4. Huge couple points to come back. And to get advantage. And to remain on par at 3 games all. Thurman continually putting Bellis under pressure. But the 3 games we've won have all been with serve. And 2 comfortable, but even one of those was not. Great chance to break here and still unable to do it. We get to the advantage, still unable to do it, and then end up giving up the game. So Bellis is just game after game with serve, squeaking out a result. We were comfortable our first couple service games, but then here we were, love 30, but now 40-30. Can we put this one away? Get it back to 4-4. We look more comfortable than her with serve, but clearly not fully comfortable. We get that game, 4 games all. Again, looking like we could break up love 40 on this one. Can we finally flip this first set in our direction? She hits that wide and long. 5-4, we break her. Also, right off the bat with that service, not quite an ace, but we force the error on the return. But then multiple mistakes. We deserve to lose that point anyway, as we had, in my eyes, already hit that double fault. You know where I stand on that ridiculous rule as it is. Either it should count or shouldn't, period. Either it's a playable ball and should stand, or it's a fault. There should be no, oh, you get a redo because it's not the outcome we wanted. That one break made the difference. We take the first set. This enticing matchup is not on paper. Oh my goodness, we should be blowing her away. She's going to claim the first game. She gets to serve first again. We're going to come right back. Comfortable. Looking comfortable. Does it remain comfortable? Not quite. 40-30 now. 40 all. And we got all the way to deuce before we finally get advantage and still don't put it away. Oh my goodness. Clarice. Just no killer instinct at all. When is she going to see those upgrades? We, in 2.5 years, have seen 1 mental upgrade. Like, what is going on with that particular attribute this year? They completely nerfed it. You never get the upgrades. Never. We've done, what, twice the entire playthrough. She's had an upgrade to that untrainable mental section. 2 games all. Let's speed it up. each holding serve so far at 3 games all. Chance to break, and we do. That puts us on that front foot. 5 games 3, getting on the verge. She will hold serve here, so it's going to look like the same sort of outcome. Set 1, set 2. Break her once and once only. Chance to seal it. Match point there. Hit it long. Curious what our final stats will be on this one. Ooh, great ball there. And then what a fantastic play from her. Right on the edge. Difficult to reach ball, and she perfectly plays it the opposite direction. And then again with the giveaway. Just Clarice. No killer instinct whatsoever. She is just awful when it comes to that killer instinct. And why it never upgrades, I don't know. Like, we won plenty of tournaments. Oh my gosh, Clarice, you're killing me. Killing me, Smalls. Just wide. Look at that. Totally flat-footed. That ball was not even remotely difficult to reach. I would have easily reached that ball. And she can't. And then out again. Just over and over again. Clarice at deuce. Just pinpoint laser accuracy. But the moment she has the advantage and the ability to put it away, she refuses to succeed. She's waiting for Bellis to make the mistake. You can see how quickly. It's like we go deuce, and then she just nails it. Finally. Wow. She's dancing, but my oh my. Clarice just... second tournament win in 2 years, though, or almost 2 years. And we've got 2 more coming to really ensure that we are going to see that form flip into a good direction. Can she carry through? I'm not going to play live on what happens. She doesn't even need to win them, but if she can get at least to a semifinal through the 2, she will have the form we need going forward, finally. I didn't even get a chance to intervene, maybe because it was a junior level, but Rekarkova has not claimed the victory. She loses in the final of the Wimbledon Juniors. So only 1 victory for us today, and for a rarity, it's somebody other than Rekarkova. Even though Rekarkova has not been with us for very long, she has had claimed all but 1 of our victories over the last couple of years. I guess Urhobo had some small tournament wins last year, this year anyway. All right, so we're going to quickly make our way through second tournament. First round might be one of the tougher matchups we're going to have in this entire thing. It does go to tiebreakers in the first set, but we do win both sets and move on. Only +4 on winners. Okay, so they're calling it the Games of Olympus next year. This is going to be the Olympics. 28 Games of Olympus will be next year. Keep an eye on the rankings. Rules of the tournament are as follows. Only pro players are invited. The 64 best ranked players will enter with the following restrictions. The host country must have a wild card, and a country can only be represented by a maximum of 4 players per gender. Tournament takes place during week 30 and is compulsory. Hope one of our up-and-comers enters. As we have some Americans, it's going to be hard for them to crack the top 4 in the current state of affairs. Rekarkova might have a better chance, but that's also one of the top nations in the world, as she is Czech. So will she fall into the top 4 by that point? But this is next year. We have a full year to prepare for that one. I think we easily could get somebody back in if we have the form and start getting some results again. We could get back into that top 30. Maintaining it long term could be difficult, but you go through a stretch of good form from now where we become within a year. So any points that we start scoring from this stage going forward will help the rankings for next year. So this is a perfect time to be down in the rankings, not have to play those mandatory tournaments, have good form, and start progressing and picking up valuable points to assure that those points don't fall away before next year's Olympics. Second round victory, somebody ranked outside of the top 750, meant massively lopsided match. And yeah, it's turned out to be just that. Almost donuts. Urhobo, playing in an 80 level, separate 80 level tournament this week, is finding some success at the moment. Third round, so much closer, 6-3, 7-5. Even though we were plus 19 on winners, 58% of points won. It's not as close as it looked, really. The unforced errors really wasn't too high either. I mean, her combined was 24. Our combined was 21, so we were technically plus 3 there as well. Looked a lot closer, though, than it actually was. Looks like when she won games, she won them comfortably. When we won games, we won more of them, but we kept it a little tighter. Of course. Of course. And this is one of those reasons why we can't seem to find any form. Ruptured shoulder. 72-day recovery. 2.5 months. That Urhobo will now be out of commission. Gotta be kidding me. Just keeps coming. That sample size for me just keeps getting larger as injury after injury, though, keeps mounting. Natural fitness is still just an 11 for Urhobo, but how are you supposed to get it when you can't compete in tournaments because you literally get hurt every other freaking tournament you play in? This is just very severe. 1% condition, no shape, now no morale. For one, I'm ready to move on from Urhobo because she's not progressing. And even though she has the potential, she's already now past the age at 20 that she's going to progress decently. And it's because of the injuries that she's not progressing. Semis, easily the toughest matchup we've had and would be the toughest matchup as we're looking at an unseeded plus the 7 seed just behind her at 226 for the final. 3-0 now all time against this opponent. Still managed to go -4 on the winners, but keeping it cleaner than our opponent, making a bit of a difference here. Before I sim this final against the 7 seed, I did tweak a couple months ago the tactics for Thurman. One might argue that that's not gone well, but also one could argue that it actually has gone extremely well. We've started winning again, but the stats after each match, a lot of these are closer than they could or should be. But again, I think this is coming down to that form and how it affects our physicals, because the mistakes haven't been there. We're just not getting a ton of winners. I was pushing the aggression level just slightly to set up scenarios where we could get winners. What I am seeing, though, is I'm seeing our opponents get more forced errors. So while we're not necessarily getting the winners ourselves, we are putting our opponents in difficult positions a little more often and forcing them to make mistakes while still maintaining clean play. So Thurman, with more power, with more accuracy, can affect the game more eventually. But clearly, our biggest weakness is still the fact that we don't have elite physicals to overcome bad form. At least that's how I see it. And back-to-back small tournament victories now for Thurman. This has got to be putting us in that right place. But by the time we enter the third one, I think she's going to finally be in good form. Maybe excellent. Ranking already starting to come back up for Thurman, now at 54th. Satisfaction has climbed once again. We're looking pretty okay for everyone other than that whole severe injury for Urhobo. Meanwhile, Thurman, there it is. Excellent shape. We have it. Only took 2 tournaments. We didn't need 3. But if we didn't have that success in that first one, this would be a very different story. And look at this. It's not even a 3-point swing. It's about a 3.5-point swing. Reflexes right now. 18 speed. 18 footwork. 18. 17s for the balance and agility. Natural fitness is almost to its maximum, currently at 19, and the stamina is the only thing down. But of course, in the women's game, playing best of 3 instead of best of 5, that stamina is less important. Eventually a 12 to 14 would be fantastic to really ensure she has it all the way through a tournament. But for now, a 10 is more than adequate, and with desperate needs in other places, it's good to have. Mentally, the anticipation, tactical skills are really, really approaching their maximum. But again, we're looking at an average of a 10 of the other 4. How we just cannot get a boost to that out of performing in a Grand Slam, or out of winning small level tournaments, or losing big level tournaments, whatever the case may be. we're just not getting any adequate boosts in that department. And that's the biggest thing I think holding us back at this point. I mean, we saw that final game. We had probably 7 chances where we were on advantage or at 40, with the next point wins scenario, and see Clarice miss the target 7 times in a row before finally getting it right on the 8th try. She's not that inaccurate. That's a lack of killer instinct, right? Increases the ratio of points earned in key moments where the player has the advantage. As much as this is hurting us when we don't have our shape, our form, that killer instinct, that fighting spirit, all of it increases ratio of points earned in key moments where the opponent has the advantage. We're not good at either. Composure reflects the player's ability to maintain their mental state during a match, to not fluctuate constantly what's going on. Confidence, ability to keep morale high off court. None of that's good. And there's nothing I can do to train it. It just happens through specific experience. Specific moments will trigger a boost to that. You'll get 3 out of 4 points all at once. That's only happened twice in her entire career. And lagging behind everything else besides, a few skill shots. Form might be there, but I set up 3 tournaments, so we have 1 more to get through. I'll see you at the stage that we either say bye-bye or make it to the end. Semi-final. I actually tried to sign Ocean Babel at one point. I think over Hobo, I tried to sign her first. She's 223 in the rankings right now. And we beat her 6-1, 6-love. Plus 20 on the winners, too. Nicely done there. Look at what those attributes going up, what those physical attributes going up is doing for us. She's a decent player, far better than most of the opponents we've been up against over this 3-tournament period. But now that we have the form, we're not giving up the winners anymore. And that's that difference, right? The physicals. We kept seeing how often we would just stand there and have a ball 5 feet away and not take the 2 steps you needed to reach it, which was nothing. Plenty of time to get there, and just stood there and watched it fly by. Well in. I mean, it wasn't like it was anticipating that it was going to be out. So we've finally flipped the script. Will this translate into better performance, though, in a bigger tournament? 149 for the finalist. A wild card here that came in with significantly higher rank. She's higher than the 2 seed, but was not too much for us. In form now. 3 straight small tournament victories. Finally headed the right direction. But next will be the first real test. Bigger tournaments to come. Rekharkova finally got into a larger tournament. Did not perform well. Got knocked out the first round. Had her form instantly drop. So then she goes back to these 80 level tournaments that we've just won 3 in a row with for Clarice. And Rekharkova, who has won multiples of those of late, just saw herself knocked off in the 3rd round of one with less form. So it's amazing how quickly that script just flips with them. There's got to be more to it than just that physical boost or lack of or decrease. I feel like it's got to have some sort of mental aspect to it as well, on how you go into a match feeling, how it impacts, the match itself. So Clarice heading into a larger tournament, 125, aka 160 tournament, as a 1 seed, back into the top 50 in the rankings. Not going to be an easy win here, but as long as she can get through 3 to 4 rounds, at the least, she should maintain the form that we've now picked up. Here is finally our first bigger test. 6-1, 6-2 in the first. Dominant performance. Second round. We lose the opening set, but we do squeak it out with taking the second and third sets. Plus 14 in the winners. The errors. And very much the unforced errors. We forced her into mistakes. We took winners. We forced her into mistakes. But we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, seemingly throughout the first set in particular. Our first top 100 opponent in quite some time, Reese Brantmeyer, We've got some history with Brantmeyer, I'm pretty sure. And we're looking at no higher than 73rd ranked left. Big opportunity for us. Not long ago, these were the kind of matches that we should win most of the time, with the potential for, well, all three of these last rounds having similar level opposition, though, Volinet's 105 is not quite there, but all just about in that 75 to 105 range. Should win, but not necessarily. I'd say we've got a good 80% in each of them, meaning I'd say we've got a better than 50-50 chance of winning all three and taking the tournament. We've actually only played Brantmeyer once, surprisingly. She's also in excellent form, but we beat her here 6-4, 6-3, 57% of the points won, plus 11 on the winners. Didn't force that many errors, but kept it much cleaner than that last round. So Volinet's 105. One of those two top 100 players made it through. Diane Perry getting knocked off by Matilda Jorge. She's qualifier 224 is her rank. Good opportunity, good chance to take this tournament. Certainly better than 50% now that we're down to just two remaining, and one of the better ones remaining has also been knocked off. Semi-final victory 6-2, 6-3. A little bit closer, but this is what you would expect in this type of matchup quality-wise. Ooh, that's right. I got selected this year to manage the U.S. at the junior level. Forgot about that. We have reached this stage in our affairs. This is also going to be a really good opportunity to call it a day. I must select between 3 and 5. We have overall level. We got 1 2-star one. Jenna Bustos. It's not even a matter of what that's World Tour ranking, but she's got quality. So we'll select her as one as kind of the best overall available. But what about those rankings? Some junior rankings. Wow, that's it. This is it for the U.S. The 20th, the 43rd, the 49th. I mean, where has the quality gone? Okay, Nicole Brown's going to get selected because she's in form, and that's going to be an important piece to this. Stearns, I guess, based on ranking, is going to get selected. That's 3 for now. Ayana Shaw Waddles. Waddles is another one that's in form, but do we want a junior who's just in amazing form? Seeing how things have gone of late, I think form has to play a role in the selections that I make. So 5 17-year-olds are all being selected. I am not very optimistic over our chances, as there really is very little quality in the U.S. junior pool at the moment. It's really quite bad. All right, folks. Well, I have a final oncoming for Clarice at a higher level after winning 3 straight little tiny tournaments. It's still not a big tournament. It's just a step up. It's a chance to continue the excellent form, which playing in the final, I think, will maintain that either way. Help boost the rankings back up a little bit. It's already climbed back into the top 50. We are making progress, finally, by getting some baby steps in. We went back to the basics, and it is making a difference. And meanwhile, coming soon, World Cup junior level. I don't think Clarice has climbed high enough to get into the senior level mix, or Hobo most definitely is not, for 2 reasons. 1, the ranking. 2, the serious injury that she has picked up, the biggest injury that we have seen as of yet in this game. Rakarkova, who was in amazing form, making rapid progress, finally plays 1 medium level tournament and loses instantly, and instantly sees her form fall away. So her momentum is lost. Little up and down, little roller coaster ride happening right now. Interesting things to come, though. That is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.